Welcome back to the Wheel Bad Films. I don't have the wheel for this intro because the footage got corrupted. Or I think because I lost the footage, that's probably more likely. But today we are going to be talking about The Skateboard Kid, which is a movie about a skateboard and a kid. And the skateboard can talk.
I'm ready to rock and ready to roll. I'm full of spunk and full of soul.
Now you might also be thinking that this is not a horror film. Now that is true, though the skateboard in this film is horrifying to look at times, this is not a horror film. But it does have a connection to horror. The executive producer for this film is Roger Corman, who just recently passed away. Roger Corman produced over 400 films which were mostly horror. So why did he produce a 1993 film about a kid with a talking skateboard? I don't know. The last film of Roger Corman's that I covered was The Fantastic Four from 1994, which was one of my first videos, which was from a darker time. So if you think about going to watch this film, here's what I would recommend if you're gonna watch it. First, turn on the movie. Second, turn the audio off so you don't have to hear the film. Then, third, turn the TV off so you don't have to see the movie. And then fourth, walk out of your house and never come back. Okay, I've delayed this long enough. I think it's time to start talking about the film. The film opens with pretty standard credits, but it has a banging song attached to it. The music in this film was by the Trash Kittens, which I did everything to try to find if this band did anything else on the internet, and I could not find them. Then the film tries to give us a seizure as we watch these people skate.
Okay, Mags. Let's rip.
This group right here is what the film calls hip thrashers. That's literally what it says in the plot of this film. These are hip thrashers. But these dudes wish they could skate like those Rocket Power kids. They decide to harass a mascot with the worst pitch ever.
Chicken wings, come and get us. Chicken wings.
Then they also decide to murder this police officer in the process as well. We then get a montage of skateboarding, or really a montage of planes, as every single shot has a plane in it. We also get some shots with just skateboards and planes, but no kids in them. And half the shots in the scene when they are performing a trick, they don't even complete the trick, they bail off their skateboard before doing anything. But this is not the only scene where we get a montage of people skateboarding over cameras and stuff like that. This is like 20% of the film. The only good thing about the scene is that we get another banger from the Trash Kittens. This film was directed by Larry Swerdlove. What a great name. He has written many other things like Extreme Ghostbusters and RoboCop Alpha Commando, and he has also worked on several Bratz video games, which, you know what, kudos to him. His co-writer Gary Stewart Kaplan also wrote for RoboCop Alpha Commando and was apparently a producer for Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. You know Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Probably Larry Swerdlove. So one of those kids that was skating around was Zach, and we see a car pull up and he leaves. It's his dad and him. They're going to a new town. This is probably because Zach just broke into an international airport and was skating around and is probably wanted by the cops now, so they had to flee. That's what I want to think happened. After almost probably hitting someone, like for real, they are ambushed by those hip thrashers.
You killed him.
No, I'm sadly still alive, and I'm here talking about this film. So about 10 minutes later in the film, because nothing happens for a while, Zach meets this lady, whose name is Maggie, and commits fraud with her. Like seriously, this electrician shows up to her house, probably saying that she, spent $20,000 of electricity, or stole $20,000 of electricity, and then Zach breaks the meter outside, changes it, and I looked up, presumably if this film is in California, that if you are stealing electricity, that's a penalty of up to 3 years in jail. I can tell you one thing about jail, there ain't no talking skateboards in there. And speaking of which, where is this talking skateboard? We're about to find out because right before this, Zach had his skateboard broken by this doofus who works for this car salesman, which I'll get to in a little bit, trust me, it'll make sense in a little bit. So Maggie gives him a new skateboard that was given to her by an old magician. This is to pay him off for, helping her commit fraud. Maggie is played by actress Bess Armstrong, who is probably most known for Jaws 3D, which has one of the greatest special effects in the history of cinema. The skateboard just gets lit up by God, who was about 2 feet away from killing Zach. The next day, Zach goes to the hip thrashers place where they are just eating.
What is that?
He also doesn't know his skateboard can talk yet, even though he's clearly been groaning since he got zapped by lightning. The Thrashers decide to commit first-degree murder when the skateboard skates in to save Zach. So he just chases the Thrashers around a bit before Zach jumps on him, and they have the slowest getaway in film history. Like seriously, he's going like 5 miles an hour and these guys can't catch him.
Whoa, 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 whoa! Up, baby, get me out of here!
So after discovering that he has a talking skateboard, Zach realizes the very limited potential of this as he just skates around town, like anyone with any skateboard could do.
Wait, cool.
The only thing different he does with his skateboard is that he has the skateboard throw baseballs at him. And it's a huge bonding moment because his father's not there in his life. He's been at a news station where he's been a weatherman, a clown, and like a producer, I guess, because he just sits in an office with a bunch of paper. I like to think that Zach's dad is going through a midlife crisis in this film. His son just trespassed onto an airport runway and is now wanted by the government. His wife died many years ago. His son's best friend now is a talking skateboard. He works at a news company where he's a clown half the time, and he laughs through the pain, but truly he didn't think his life would get to this point.
Wow, sure do love those Power Pal cartoons. How about you, little Franco?
They make me so happy, I want to spit!
Sometimes the thing you're looking for is staring you right in the face.
That's just what I like to think. So the next day, this girl named Jenny apparently broke into Zach's garage and is dancing with his skateboard. She tells Zach that there is some treasure that was left here for her mother, who is Maggie, but it got lost somewhere on their obscure property. The reason I say obscure is because the place that Zach ran into Maggie was their house, which is on the same property as a car lot owned by this sleazy car man. So this is when we get into the actual plot of this film, because the car salesman here, he wants to marry Maggie, and the reason why is not because he loves her, but because her family has treasure. Somewhere in her house or on her property, she has treasure somewhere that he wants to take for himself, even though I don't get his plan, because what's going to happen after he finds it? He's just going to stay with her? Or is he going to divorce her and split the money anyways? Like, I don't know what his plan there is. And if he is gonna divorce her and split the money, then like maybe she should just go along with it, even though she's not really a big fan of him. Though she does agree to marry him, and not just that, she accepts the engagement, and then they decide to get married the next day. The car man tells all of this to his henchman, who probably already knows about this plan, but you know, the audience doesn't know. And it's also so Zach can spy on him and hear about this. So after hearing about it, Zach breaks into the car man's safe and steals the treasure map that he had, which had some weird words on it, but they weren't able to figure out what it was. After some crazy hijinks, Zach is being chased by Big Dan on a motorcycle, those hip thrashers from earlier, and the cop from the beginning who's now driving this. So all groups are going like 80 miles per hour at Zach and about to corner him, and they're all about to hit head on, like they're all gonna die if they do this. So you know what happens? The skateboard fucking flies.
Where the heck did he go?
Where's the key?
Remember the montage from earlier where Zach got his skateboard and was like, oh, you're a talking skateboard, what can we do? And it's like, oh, we can skate around town like anyone can. And it's like, okay, that's pretty boring. And then in this moment, the skateboard was like, wait a second, I can fucking fly. So as I mentioned earlier, the skateboard is played by Dom DeLuise, the most famous person from this film by far. Though when I think of him, I think of his son who plays the dad on Wizards of Waverly Place. That's just, that's what I think of when I hear that name. Also, the skateboard has a name in the movie, which is Rip, which earlier when they said his name, I thought they said Rick, which I thought was really funny because they never really explained why he got his name, so I thought he just named his skateboard Rick just to fuck with him.
My name's not Rick!
So now it's the next day, and as I mentioned, Maggie is getting married to the car salesman. Zach, who has the treasure map, doesn't go straight to the wedding or before the wedding and give the map to Maggie. Instead, he hatches a elaborate plan where instead of him just walking into the ceremony and handing her the paper, he says, you know what, Rip, I'm gonna put a scarecrow on you. I'm gonna give you the treasure map. Then you're gonna go down the aisle unseen by anyone, give the map to Jenny, and then shenanigans will ensue. Which sounds so fucking dumb, like that will never work. But you know what's even worse? It does work! So as I mentioned, shenanigans ensue with Zach making a pretty terrible cake pun.
Hey, Dan! I now pronounce you man and cake.
Then leaving with the map while being chased by the lead hip thrasher. This lead hip thrasher is the son of the car salesman, by the way, which isn't really important, but it is worth pointing out that the dude who has dressed like this the entire film might be the best dressed person at this wedding. He has an ATV, which is obviously way faster than this motorized skateboard, so he easily catches up to him. But before he does though, Rip realizes, oh yeah, I can fucking fly.
Thank you so much for flying here, Rip.
Some of the shots of the skateboard flying around are actually pretty funny, especially the close-ups of Zach, because you can see there's clearly no wind blowing through his hair. Like, what, is he moving at like 2 miles an hour? Well, he might be, because after he flies around, he just lands back on the road with the ATV still on it and then gets caught by it. Like, what was the plan there? After he gets hit, Zach's stuntman just eats shit and then ends up on the side of a cliff. The hip thrasher takes the map from him and then stomps Zach's hands, causing him to fall down the hill, unsuccessfully killing him. Though he did kill Rip in the process because, yeah, he is definitely dead and just isn't talking anymore. Zach loses hope when he sees the reflection of his hat on Rip's corpse. Is it a sign that he needs his mom? No, it's not. It's a sign of how to read the map. You'll see here in a second why. To honor Rip, Zach turns his corpse into a skateboard with a sail. Then after being chased by the ATV again, he brushes up on the skateboard, which shocks Rip back to life, and then he starts to fucking fly again. So you might be wondering why the ATV even came back in this scene to chase down Zach, because he got the map, right? Well, it turns out that that was actually just a marriage certificate that he got from the wedding. The real treasure map is with Maggie and Zach's dad right now as they are going through trying to find the treasure, which this scene doesn't make a lot of sense either, because as they're going through the treasure, they're saying we can't, get the car man, we can't let him know we're here, but like he's literally right next fucking door. Like, why does he not just come over to your place and take the map? I don't get it. The car man confronts them and the whole damn town apparently shows up, and so does Zach as he snags the map out of the car man's hands to see in the reflection that the strange writing says water tower. I don't know how no one ever looked at this and thought, hey, that looks like, a word backwards. Like maybe we should, I don't know, put it in a fucking mirror or something? No one's thought about that apparently. That's well, to be fair, the car salesman's not the brightest person. Since Rip is alive again, he puts him to work by pulling this whole ass car up a hill. This is the second time in the film, by the way, that Zach has made his talking skateboard basically a slave for him. Earlier in the film, he made him clean up his whole house while Zach made a candle out of a Coke bottle. I'm telling you, the first 40 minutes is fucking useless in this film. So Big Dan shows up and is trying to shoot off a warning shot, but then actually shoots at Zach. Thankfully he doesn't hit Zach, but he definitely hit Rip as he shatters into a ton of pieces. but it sends his body tumbling down the hill with the car, which just so happens to turn at the right time and hit the water tower, knocking it over and exposing all these dollar gold chocolate coins, you know, that you would get at Dollar Tree or whatever. But they just think that it is actual gold. So then there's a whole debate of who owns the gold now, because even though they didn't marry, Maggie argues it should be hers because she owns the water tower. The carman argues that they were gonna get married and she's a bitch, so he should get the gold. And then, you know, there's a whole mob justice of everyone chanting, right? Like, no actual judicial process will happen here. We're just gonna fucking get whatever we want. Then the police guy shows up after being insulted by the carman, which is a pretty bad move because they just make this cop the judge for some reason. He just says, nah, Maggie gets the gold, which is against probably all the laws of the state, but everyone cheers as Maggie has won. And because Zach's dad is probably pretty poor, he decides to marry Maggie the next day and take all that gold for himself, presumably. The end. Also, Rip never fucking comes back. Rip, after he got shot, literally doesn't talk again. I'm pretty sure Rip died. Rip is fucking dead. This film is a weird one, mostly in terms of it's very cheesy, but it's almost on the end of what makes other films I've watched on this channel kind of enjoyable is that they want to be good, but they end up sucking because, well, they suck. This film, I think, knows it sucks from the beginning. Larry Swerdlove, after writing RoboCop Alpha Commando, I assume was like, you know what, fuck writing serious stuff. I'm gonna write a film that I think is hilarious. That's part of the problem. This film's not super funny. It's just that level of, because it's trying to be funny, it's not funny. It's also a film for kids. But I will say, a talking skateboard is a pretty damn cool idea. I have to give the film that. I'm waiting for the follow-up sequel where it's like a pair of talking skates or a talking snowboard or some shit or a talking scooter. You could make this a horror film, turn the skateboard into a scooter that goes around town and like swings itself around and hits kids in the ankles and shatters their ankles and, you know, ruins their lives or something. I think there's a movie there. Anyways, thank you for watching this video. If you like this video, you know, you can watch other videos on this channel. Okay, this is a terrible sales pitch. Anyways, thank you for watching this video. If you have a talking skateboard, please do more with it than this film does.
Sometimes the thing you're looking for is staring you right in the face.
Granddaddy.
Ugly.
Where's the geek?
Extreme.